Hello and welcome to the English YouTuber. In today's video, we're going to discuss the story, The Book That Saved the Earth, written by Claire Bioco. So this story is about how a book of nursery rhymes saved Earth from Martian invasion. The story is written in the form of a play, so let's move into the line by line explanation. Scene 1. Time, the 25th century. So the story is from the future. Place, the Museum of Ancient History, and the department is the department of the 20th century on the planet Earth. So this is the department. Before rise, spotless shines on historian who is sitting at a table down right on which is a movie projector. A sign on an easel. So what is an easel? An easel is a wooden frame on which a canvas is kept and a painter does painting. On the easel is written, Museum of Ancient History, Department of the 20th Century. She stands and bows to audience. So the historian is narrating the story. Good afternoon. Welcome to our Museum of Ancient History and to my department, Curiosities of the Good Old Far Off 20th Century. The 20th century was often called the era of books. So here there could be a question, what was the 20th century called? Or why was the 20th century called the era of books? In those days, there were books about everything, from ant-eaters to Zulus. Books taught people how to, when to, and where to, and why to. So in short, there was books about everything under the sky. They illustrated, educated, punctuated, and even decorated. So that is why the 20th century was called the era of books, because there was books about everything and of varied topics and taught people about everything. But the strangest thing a book ever did was to save the earth. So what is the strangest thing that the book has done? To save the earth. You haven't heard about the Martian invasion of 2040? So in the 21st century, that is in the year 2040, there was a Martian invasion that was planned. What do they teach children nowadays? Well, the invasion never really happened. So the invasion did not happen because a single book stopped it. Oh, so a single book had the power to stop a big Martian invasion. What was the book, you ask? A noble encyclopedia? A tome about rockets and missiles? A secret file from outer space? No, it was none of these. It was but here. Let me turn on the Historyscope. So this is like the projector device of the future because now they are in the 25th century. So the projector of the 25th century is called a Historioscope, and show you what happened many centuries ago in the year 2040. She turns on the projector and points it left. Spotlight on historian goes out and comes up down left on think tank, who is seated on a raised box, arms folded. He has a huge egg-shaped head and wears a long robe decorated with stars and circles. Apprentice Noodle stands beside him at an elaborate switchboard. A sign on an easel reads. Okay. So the historian has started the historioscope and through the projector is showing a scene from the year 2040 where there is a person called Think Tank who is seated on a raised platform. His arms are folded and his head is as huge as an egg. And he wears a long robe decorated with stars and circles. His apprentice Noodle stands beside him. Okay, and there is an easel there which reads Mars Space Control. Great and mighty think tank, Commander-in-Chief. So the Commander-in-Chief of the Mars Space Control is think tank. Bow low before entering. So you have to bow before you even enter his office. Noodle. He's bowing. Oh, great and mighty think tank. Most powerful and intelligent creature in the whole universe. What are your orders? So first he is appreciating him and giving him respect, and then he's saying, what are your orders? Think tank says peevishly. So peevish means in an irritable manner, or he's got annoyed. You left out part of my salutation, apprentice Noodle. Go over the whole thing again. So it's like you've missed a part of my salutation where you say about me. Now you have to repeat it all over again. Noodle. It shall be done, sir. In a sing-song, he says, oh, great and mighty think tank, ruler of Mars and her two moons, most powerful and intelligent creature in the whole universe. Then he's out of breath. What are your orders? So he's tired of giving him such a long salutation. So from this, we understood that think tank is a narcissist person. Narcissistic. So a narcissist person is someone who wants excessive admiration for oneself and for one's physical appearance. You have to constantly praise them and they think highly of themselves. That is called a narcissistic person. So we can know that he is self-absorbed, or you can say he's self-centered, or another word is egocentric. So these are some of the synonyms for the word narcissist, because he thinks highly of himself. So think tank says, that's better, Noodle. I wish to be placed in communication with our manned space probe to that ridiculous little planet we are going to put under our generous ruleship. What do they call it again? So he's like, I want to communicate with the space program, which is manned, means we have sent people to Earth. And he's calling it a ridiculous little planet. So here, if you see, he's belittling Earth, or he's looking down on Earth. Noodle says, Earth, your intelligence. So he's satisfying think tank's ego every time by praising him so much. Think tank says, Earth, of course. You see how insignificant the place is. But first, something important. My mirror. I wish to consult my mirror. So he says, before we take over Earth, I first want to consult my mirror. Noodle says, it shall be done, sir. And he hands think tank a mirror. Think tank says, mirror, mirror in my hand, who is the most fantastically intellectual gifted being in the land? So if you see in the fairy tale Snow White, there was this cruel queen who was so self-obsessed, just like think tank, and used to ask the mirror, who's the most beautiful person in the world, and the mirror used to reply her. So this is just like that. An offstage voice after a pause says, you, sir. So think tank, smacking the mirror. Quicker! Answer quicker next time. I hate a slow mirror. He admires himself in the mirror. So if you see, again, he's obsessed with himself. Ah, there I am. Are we Martians not a handsome race? So much more attractive than those ugly earthlings and with their tiny heads. Noodle, you keep on exercising your mind and someday you will have a balloon brain just like me. So think tank is saying, you have to exercise your brain, only then you will have a large head like me with lot of intelligence. Noodle says, oh, I hope so, mighty think tank, I hope so. So if you see here, Noodle is a person who's very humble and doesn't go against the commander-in-chief. Think tank says, now contact the space probe. I want to invade that primitive ball of mud called Earth Before Lunch. See what think tank thinks about Earth. That it is a primitive. Primitive is not advanced. And it's calling it a ball of mud. Noodle says, "It shall be done, sir." And he adjusts levers on switchboards. Electronic buzzes and beeps are heard as the curtains open. Now, scene 1 is done. We're going to scene 2. Time. A few seconds later. Place. Mars Space Control and the Centerville Public Library. So the space control, they are connected to some of the people who are sent to Earth, and they are actually in the Centerville Public Library. At Rise, Captain Omega stands at center, opening and closing card catalog drawers in a confused fashion. So he seems very confused of what he's doing. Lieutenant Iota is up left, counting books in a bookcase. So he's counting the number of books. Sergeant Oop is at right, opening and closing a book, turning it upside down, shaking it, and then riffling the pages. So riffling means turning the pages. Or you can say flicking the pages. And shaking his head. Noodle says, adjusting the knobs, "I have a close sighting of the space crew, sir." And Think Tank puts on a pair of enormous goggles and turns towards the stage to watch. They seem to have entered some sort of earth structure, so they are not sure of which place they have reached. Think Tank says, "Excellent, make voice contact. I want to talk to them." So if you see here, they are going through the books in the library, but they are oblivious that they are in a library. Noodle says, speaking into a microphone, "Mars Space Control calling to crew of Probe 1. Mars Space Control calling the crew of Probe 1. Come in, Captain Omega, and give us your location." So they are maintaining contact. So Omega says, "Captain Omega to Mars Space Control, Lieutenant Iota, Sergeant Oop, and I have arrived on Earth without incident." So without any problem, we have safely reached Earth. We have taken shelter in this square place. So they are oblivious to where they are. Or you can use the word clueless. "Have you any idea where we are, Lieutenant Iota?" So Iota says, "I can't figure it out, Captain. I've counted 2,000 of these peculiar items. This place must be some sort of storage barn. What do you think, Sergeant Oop?" So Iota suggests that maybe this is a storage barn where they are storing something, because there are 2,000 of these items that he has counted. Oop says, "I haven't a clue. Even I am ignorant. I am oblivious to what these are. I have been to 7 galaxies, but I have never seen anything like this. Maybe they are hats." So Oop says these are hats. So the question could come, what all did they speculate the books were? So first they speculated that maybe it's a storage barn. Second is maybe they are hats. He opens a book and puts it on the head. Say maybe this is a haberdashery. So haberdashery is a small shop which sells buttons, zips, threads, etc. So maybe he says it is a small shop like that. So this is another thing that they think it is. Haberdashery. Omega says, bowing low, "Perhaps the great and mighty Think Tank might give us the benefit of his thought on the matter." See, he's saying, since a think tank is so intelligent, so great, he might tell us what it is. The think tank says, "Elementary, my dear Omega. Hold one of those items up so close that I might view it closely." So he's like, "Bring it up close so that I can inspect it clearly." Yes, I understand now. Since earth creatures are always eating, The place in which you find yourself is undoubtedly, so he's saying, I am sure that it is a crude refreshment stand. So he is speculating. He's not even speculating. He's saying, I'm extremely sure that since the earth creatures are always eating, this is a refreshment stand. Omega says to Iota and Oop. He says, we are in a refreshment stand. Oop says, well, the earthlings certainly have a strange diet because these don't seem palatable. Think Tank says, that item in your hand is called a sandwich. So he's saying, that item that you think is strange is a sandwich. Omega's nodding his head and saying, sandwich. Iota's nodding and saying, a sandwich. Oop, taking book from his head. A sandwich? Because he had thought that it was a hat. Think Tank says, sandwiches are the main staple of Earth diet. So that is what they mainly eat. Look at it closely. So Omega squints at the book and he looks at it closely. There are two slices of what is called bread. So he's saying the hard-bound book, the two edges, they are called the bread. And in between them are some sort of filling. So he's calling the pages the filling. Omega says, that is correct, sir. So Think Tank says, to confirm my opinion, I order you to eat it. So he's giving the order that you have to consume it to be sure that it is a sandwich. Omega gulping. Eat it? Think Tank says, do you doubt the mighty Think Tank? Oh, so you think I am wrong? Omega says, oh, no, but poor Lieutenant Iota has not had her breakfast. Lieutenant Iota, I order you to eat this sandwich. So Omega doesn't want to have it. So he is ordering Lieutenant Iota to eat it. Iota says dubiously, eat it? Oh, Captain, it is a very great honor to be the first Martian to eat a sandwich. None of us have ever eaten it. It will be a great honor, I'm sure. But how can I be so impolite as to eat before my sergeant? So how can I eat when my sergeant is here? So Iota gives the book to Oop and says, Sergeant Oop, I order you to eat the sandwich immediately. So they do not want to have it and they are asking the other person to have it. Oops, making a face. Who? Lieutenant? Me? Lieutenant? Oh, you want me to eat this? Iota and Omega saluting. For the glory of Mars, Oop, you are vested with this responsibility to eat this item that Think Tank thinks is a sandwich. Oop. Yes, of course, he's unhappy. Immediately, he opens his mouth wide. Omega and Iota watch him breathlessly. So, they are just watching him without even taking a breath. He bites down on a corner of the book and pantomimes. So, pantomimes is this drama where they mime. Mime is where they don't talk anything but only show their expressions. It's mute. Chewing and swallowing while making terrible faces. So, by this it is understood that the book or what they think was a sandwich is unpalatable or is unappetizing. Iota says, well, Oop. Oop coughs and Omega and Iota pounds him on the back because he was finding it difficult to swallow it. Think Tank says, was it not delicious, Sergeant Oop? How was it? Was it not delicious? Oop is saluting. That is correct, sir. It was not delicious. I don't know how the earthlings can get those sandwiches down without water because it was so difficult to swallow. They are dry as Martian dust. So it was great difficulty to eat it. Noodle says, Sir, great and mighty Think Tank, I beg your pardon. I am really sorry. But An insignificant bit of data has floated into my mind. He's saying, I have an idea, but it is insignificant as compared to what you have about those sandwiches. So think tank says it can't be worth much. He's saying, since it's coming from you and not from me, I don't think it is worth much. But anyway, go ahead. Give us your trifling bit of data. So trifling is unimportant. Unimportant or trivial. Noodle says, well, sir, I have seen surveyors' films of those sandwiches. I noticed that the earthlings did not eat them. They used them as some sort of communication device. So, what I have seen from films, I have seen that they did not eat it or consume it, but they use it as some sort of communication device. The think tank says, naturally, that was my next point. Oh, I was about to say that only. These are actually communication sandwiches. Think tank is never wrong. Who is never wrong? All salute. Great and mighty think tank is never wrong. So, it seriously shows that he is an egocentric person. So, think tank says, therefore, I order you to listen to them. Omega says, listen to them. Iota and Oop, they are also puzzled and confused. Listen to them? Think tank says, do you have marbles in your ears? Aren't you not understanding what I'm saying? I said, listen to them. And the Martians both low, very low. Omega, it shall be done, sir. So whatever you say shall be done. They each take two books from their cases and hold them in their ears, listening intently. So they're listening very carefully. Iota whispering to Omega, do you hear anything? Omega whispering back, nothing. Do you hear anything? Oop. Oop says loudly, not a thing. And Omega and Iota jump in fright because he answers loudly. So Omega and Iota say, shh, they are listening intently again. Okay, so shh, keep quiet. Let's try to listen something because it's supposed to be a communication device. Think tank says, well, report to me. What do you hear? Omega says, nothing, sir. Perhaps you are not on the correct frequency. Maybe the frequency is off. That is why we can't hear anything. Iota says, nothing, sir. Perhaps the earthlings have sharper ears than we do. Maybe that is why we can't hear it. Oop says, I don't hear a thing. Maybe these sandwiches don't make sounds. Maybe they are not meant to make sounds. The think tank says, what? Does somebody suggest the mighty think tank has made a mistake? Omega says, oh, no, sir, no, sir. We keep listening. You are never wrong. Then Noodle says, please excuse me your brilliance, but a cloudy piece of information is swirling around in my head. So I have another idea. But may I say, so he's asking for permission before he can share his idea. From here, you can see that Noodle is actually a smart and intelligent being. And he has great thoughts and ideas, but he shows humility and makes sure that the boss gets all the praise and his ego is boosted and he does not take the credit for it. Think tank says, well, twirl it out, Noodle, and I will clarify it for you. Noodle says, I seem to recall that the earthlings did not listen to the sandwiches. They actually opened them and watched them. So you think, I don't think they listened to it. They opened them and saw. Think tank says, yes, that is quite correct. I will clarify that for you, Captain Omega. Those sandwiches are not for the ear communication. They are for the eye communication. Now, Captain Omega, take that large, colorful sandwich over there. It appears to be important. Tell me what you observe. So he tells there is a colorful sandwich over there, which he's calling a book. And tell me what you see. It seems important. So Omega picks a very large volume of Mother Goose, holding it so that the audience can see the title. Iota looks over to her left shoulder and Oop peers over her right shoulder. Omega says, it appears to contain pictures of earthlings. So there are pictures of people of Earth. Iota says, there seems to be some sort of code because they do not know English language. So they feel it is written in a code language. Think tank sharply interested. Code? I told you this was important. Describe the code. Oop. It's little lines and squiggles and dots, thousands of them alongside the picture. So he is describing the code, but he cannot decode it. Think tank says, perhaps the earthlings are not as primitive as we have thought. We must break the code. So if you remember, think tank called them primitive. And he called Earth a ridicule little planet. But now he's thinking, I don't think they are as primitive as I thought. They are smarter. Noodle says, forgive me your cleverness, but did not the chemical department give us space people vitamins to increase their intelligence? So he's saying, don't you remember? They had given us some vitamins so that we can increase our intelligence. Think tank says, stop. A thought of magnificent brilliance has come to me. So again, he's taking the credit for what Noodle has thought of. Space people, our chemical department, has given you vitamins to increase your intelligence. Take them immediately and then watch the sandwich. The meaning of the code will slowly unfold before you. Omega says, it shall be done, sir. Remove the vitamins. Then the crew takes the vitamins from the boxes onto their belts. Present vitamins. Then they hold the vitamins in front of them stiffly and they swallow it. So they consume or ingest the vitamins that was presented to them. So here a question could come. How did they decipher what was written in that important book? How did they decipher? So they consumed or ingested vitamins that was given to them by the chemical department to increase their intelligence. And that is how they could decipher. They pop the vitamins into their mouth and gulp simultaneously. They open their eyes wide, their heads shake, and they put their hands to their forehead. Think tank says, excellent. Now decipher that code. Now decode whatever's written. All says, it shall be done, sir. And they frown over the book, turning the pages. Omega says, ah. Iota says, oh. Oop, bursting into laughter. Ha ha ha. So now they are able to read what is written and therefore they are laughing. Think tank says, what does it say? Tell me this instant. Transcribe, Omega. So don't waste time. Tell me immediately what is written. Omega says, yes, sir. And she reads with great seriousness. Mistress Mary, quite contrary, how does your garden grow? With cockle shells and silver bells and pretty maids all in a row. This is a nursery rhyme. So Oop is laughing. Ha ha ha. Imagine that. Pretty maids growing in a garden and Oop finds it hilarious. Think tank is alarmed. Stop. This is no time for levity. So he's saying this is no time to deal with serious matter with humor. You have to be serious. Don't you realize the seriousness of this discovery? The earthlings have discovered how to combine agriculture and mining. So he's saying, oh, they're not very primitive as we thought. They are smart. They have discovered how to combine agriculture and mining. They can actually grow crops of rare metals such as silver because it says silver bells and cockle shells, right? So he thinks that they are growing silver bells. They can grow high explosives too. Noodle, contact our invasion fleet. So contact them immediately. Noodle says, they are ready to go down and take over Earth, sir. The think tank says, tell them to hold. Tell them new information has come to us about Earth, Iota. Transcribe immediately. So he wanted to invade Earth before lunch break. But now he's saying, wait, tell them not to invade now because new information we have got. Iota says, yes, sir. And she reads very gravely, very seriously and deeply. Hey, diddle, diddle, the cat and the fiddle, the cow jumped over the moon. The little dog laughed to see such sport, and the dish ran away with the spoon. Oops, says laughing. The dish ran away with the spoon. This is so funny. So think tank is serious. Cease laughter. Cease means don't laugh. Desist. Desist means again stop. This is more and more alarming. So this is not a joke. This is getting even more serious. The Earthlings have reached a high level of civilization. Didn't you hear? They have taught their domesticated animals musical culture and space techniques because the cow has been able to jump over the moon. Even their dogs have a sense of humor. Why, at this very moment, they may be launching an interplanetary attack of millions of cows. You think, oh my God, they might actually attack us with millions of cows because the cows can jump over the moon. Notify the invasion fleet. No invasion today. Oop, transcribe the next code. You think there is going to be no invasion or attack today. Yes, sir, says Oop, reading. Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men cannot put Humpty Dumpty together again. Oh, look, sir, here's a picture of Humpty Dumpty. Why, sir? He looks like he turns the large picture of Humpty Dumpty towards Think Tank and the audience. Think Tank is screaming and holding his head. It's me, because even Humpty Dumpty had a large head. It's my great and mighty balloon brain. The Earthlings have seen me and they are after me. So he's saying, oh my God, they have already know who I am and they are set to kill me. Had a great fall. That means they plan to capture Mars, central control, and me. It's an invasion of Mars. He's like, we plan to invade them, but before that, they have planned to invade us. Noodle, prepare a space capsule for me. I must escape without delay. Space people, you must leave Earth at once, but don't leave any traces of your visit. The Earthlings must not know that I know. Omega, Iota, and Oop rush about, putting books back in the shelf. So they are not leaving no traces behind and they are escaping quickly. Noodle says, where shall we go, sir? So Think Tank says, 100 million miles away from Mars. So since they are planning to invade Mars, let's go 100 million miles away. Order the invasion fleet to evacuate the entire planet of Mars. So they're saying, let's leave Mars before the Earth people come and invade us. We are heading for Alpha Centauri. So this is the place that they plan to go. 100 million miles away. So the historian is laughing and saying, that's how one dusty old book of nursery rhymes saved the world from a Martian invasion. And you all know, in the 25th century, 500 years after all this happened, we Earthlings resumed contact with Mars. So you're saying, this is how an old nursery rhyme book saved planet Earth from Mars invasion. And now, after 5 centuries, we have become friendly with the Martians. By that time, great and mighty Think Tank has been replaced by the very clever Martian, the wise and the wonderful Noodle. Oh, yes, we taught the Martians the difference between sandwiches and books. We taught them how to read, too. And we established a library in their capital city of Marsopolis. So you think now we are friendly with the Martian people. But as you might expect, there is still one book that the Martians can never bring themselves to read. You've guessed it, the Mother Goose, the nursery rhyme. She bows and exits right, and the curtain closes. So this is a funny story, but suggests that half-fed knowledge is dangerous. I hope you enjoyed listening to the line-by-line explanation. If you haven't subscribed, do it immediately so that you don't miss any important videos. Study well, do not procrastinate. God bless you, and I'm praying for you.